And on domestic commodities market space, today we'll turn our focus to steps taken by the Nigerian government to cushion the impact of the coronavirus on the nation's economy. On Wednesday, the government capped gasoline pump prices to 125 naira a litre from 145 naira. Let's talk to Tobiloba Ogungbolu, one of the research analysts with Financial Derivatives Company, to tell us more on that. Hello, Toby. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Chimezi.
The price of PMS has been reduced to 125 naira per litre. What impact will this price drop have on disposable income and the purchasing power of Nigerians?
Yes, the price of PMS has been reduced to about 125 naira per litre. And we know that an average citizen fits on necessities such as we have shelter, they spend on shelter, they spend on food, they spend on health, they spend on also education, and they also spend on transportation. And transportation, we see that the main input is PMS. And we've seen that this price has declined by about 14%, which means that definitely there should be an increase in disposable income. This would increase the disposable income of citizens. But we've now seen that on one hand, there's this decline, but on the other hand, we've seen that VAT has been increased from about 5% to about 7.5%. And due to this, we've seen that this on one hand, there's the decline. On the other hand, there is the VAT increase. So definitely, we can't see like a translation to spending. And more so, we've seen that per day, Nigeria spent about 38.2 million liters of petrol. And when you multiply this by the difference between the increase, the previous price of PMS and the current price of PMS, we see that we have about 764 million naira that is available for consumers to spend. But they can't spend that amount because they still have to pay for the increase in VAT. On the other hand, they are getting like the increase in VAT, which is being translated to the consumers.
Now, domestic commodity prices have been relatively stable in spite of the increase in headline inflation, which was, of course, presently at 12.20%. Why is this so?
Okay, yes, the price of you said that the price of commodities have been stable, which is not really so, because the headline inflation increased marginally, and also food inflation increased by about 0.05%. And the food inflation was compared to the food inflation last year, which is February last year. And this is not the right way to measure the increase in food prices. So we know that last year we didn't have border closure, we didn't have the increase in VAT, we also didn't have the growth in money supply. So all these factors have been translated and has been causing like the increase in food inflation and also headline inflation. And also, we expect the price of commodities to start to pick up because we're approaching the planting season, which is Q2. And as we approach the planting season, we expect the shortage in food items. And this is as a result of reduced supply from farmers. So due to this, we expect prices to start to pick up in the near term.
Now, do you think that transporters like buses, Uber drivers who have the Bolt and so on will perhaps reciprocate this government gesture by reducing the transport fares in the country?
Well, on a normal day, when there's an increase when there's a decline rather in the price of PMS, that's petrol, we were meant to see like a decline in the price of transportation costs. But definitely this does not really flow like that, because most times the transporters, they take their time to reduce the price, and most times when there's a decline, there's usually not a decline in the price of transportation. And also when we see that there's an increase, for instance, the last time they increased the price to about 145 naira per litre, we saw that there was a sharp increase in transportation costs. So whenever there's an increase, we see that effect immediately. Whenever there's a decline, it takes time to see the effect. So we want to see we adopt a wait and see approach. We wait and see how the market reacts to the decline in the price, and we hope that in the near term they start to reduce their transportation costs.
We hope so too. Thank you very much, Tobiloba, for your time. And Kenyan banks will allow personal borrowers who get into difficulties due to the new coronavirus pandemic to extend their loans for up to a year. According to the central bank governor, small and medium enterprises who encounter difficulties will also be allowed to restructure their bank loans at no cost. The East African nation has 4 confirmed cases of the COVID-19, and the government has imposed measures aimed at reducing its spreads, including banning public gatherings and closing schools indefinitely. And Ghana's central bank has cut its interest rate to 14.5% from 16% due to the negative economic impacts it anticipates from the spread of the coronavirus. In the event that things get worse, the bank expects economic growth to drop to 2.5% this year from an earlier forecast of 6.8%. And South African retail sales rose 1.2% year-on-year in January, following a revised decline of 0.5% in December. Data from Statistics South Africa shows that on a month-on-month basis, sales were up 0.9%. The figure rose 1% in the 3 months to the end of January compared with the same period last year. And the worldwide spread of the novel coronavirus is leading to some curious side effects. Store shelves are being stripped bare from Singapore to Seattle and now Africa. Panic buying has emerged as reliable future of the coronavirus epidemic as a fever or dry cough.
Alarmed consumers thronged markets across Africa, many in masks and gloves, to stock up as the coronavirus spreads on the world's poorest continent. Prices rose in some parts, though at least one country, which is Rwanda, sought to control costs of staple foods.
We are increasing food prices. For example, rice, beans, sugar and fruit prices have all increased so much. There is no negotiation about this. Either you buy or you go, because in few days we know that the market will be closed if the situation escalates. You can check the shops too, the increased prices.
Initially spared as the coronavirus battered China and then spread out, Africa has seen a rush of cases this month, and governments are taking drastic measures to curb its spread. At least 30 African nations have now reported more than 400 cases, 7 in Rwanda. For many poorer Africans, panic buying was a privilege they could not afford.
We're so scared of COVID-19. I think if the food prices continue this way, no one will survive, as few people are able to make stocks at home.
Vendors and shopkeepers blamed wholesalers for the increases.
You won't see lemon sellers very much around here now because they're being hunted and arrested because of hiking prices. But you shouldn't blame them because the wholesalers have increased the prices too. The rest of us are still here with fair prices because we intend to do this job even in the future after the coronavirus.
To safeguard my family in a way. Special tin stuff, I'm not a tin stuff person, but at this stage I had to buy a lot of tin stuff in case of emergency.
The Trade Ministry in Rwanda fixed prices late on Monday for 17 food items, including rice, sugar and cooking oil. It did not specify punishments for price gouging. In South Africa, long queues snaked inside and outside stores as families stocked up on items such as canned goods and toilet paper.
And that's a wrap on the show. Thank you for watching. I'm Chimezi Obi Iwago.